Greetings, this is Brian Tarian. One more time, welcome to the Disability Digest webinar. Today I'm going to spend some time with you, answer all the questions that you have, and I want to make sure that one thing, when you leave here today, that you fully understand how to get and or maximize your Social Security disability income. So first of all, I want to thank you very much for taking some time out of your day and coming on out here and investing some time and listening to this webinar. It's a pleasure to spend time with you. There was a pile of questions that were submitted for those that came in here today, and so I've sifted through these questions, and these are all the questions that we have, most of them, and I'm going to address those in general terms today. A lot of them fall under, how much money I can make and keep my benefits, and where can I find reliable income, and there's some disability approval questions. So I will address those. But what I would also like to do is I would like to address any individual questions that you have that maybe I miss in this list or that are not addressed. So, but before I get started, I'm going to unmute everybody, and I just want to see if those of you are fired up and tuned into your, whether you're participating by phone or by email. I just want to, on the count of 3, when I get this all done, I just would like everybody to say their name and where they're participating from here today, so we can get kind of a general feeling or sense of community. So I'm almost done here. All right. Are we ready? All right. So on the count of 3, everybody go at once. Just say where you're from, where you're participating from, and your name. 1, 2, 3. Let me hear you.
Lynn, California.
All right. That's great. I heard a whole lot of stuff at once, and then somebody from California, so welcome. Now, for answering or asking questions today, there's 2 ways that you can go about it. Actually, there's 3. One is you can raise your hand, and there's a little hand-raising feature on the GoToMeeting software, and then I will unmute you, and we can talk just like we're on the telephone or sitting down having coffee. Also, there's a question feature on the GoToMeeting software, and if you just type your question in there, I will monitor that. And there's also a chat feature as well. So I'll try to keep them all covered. So I want to make sure that we get your questions answered. Okay, so let's get started. I want to cover the basics here. And also, by the way, this is being recorded. And you will see this web page that looks just like this that will be put up on our blog. And so that you can come back and re-listen to that and, find any of the resources that maybe you didn't write down accurately or whatever the deal is. Okay? Okay, great. So about your membership. You're all members of either the Disability Digest or the Fibromyalgia Digest, and we certainly thank you for that. About your membership, it's a free membership. It always has been. It always will be. And our job here is to operate like a radio or a TV station so that you have these events and all the different lessons and interviews and audios that you get that help you with disability-related issues and maintain it being free. We have sponsors. We get paid money from Medicare, money from the Social Security Disability Administration. We have ads on our website. And that is how we creatively make our money and keep the membership and all of this experience free for you. So I'm going to show you how it works, give you the ABCs on how to use your membership. At the top of all of our web pages, you'll see there's this members area right here. There's this is one key, and then this search box is another one. And in the members area is where you can find answers to most of the commonly asked questions that people have. So I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to show you the breakdown. I want to make sure everybody can see my screen. Can somebody just type in the question feature? Yeah, Brian, or chat, I can see your screen. Before I go off on this big, long presentation. Oh, perfect, great. It's happened before, mind you. I get 20 minutes into a presentation and nobody can see what I'm talking about. So now that you can see it, I hope you can understand it. Away we go. So we're in the members area. There's a video at the top here that you can have a listen to. It kind of gives you an in-depth overview of what's going on, but it's broken down by section. Section 1 is getting approved for disability. It's got a Social Security Disability mini course in there and a complete strategy that shows you how you can do it on your own, or a complete done-for-you strategy if you want to have your benefits application and the process handled by somebody. So that's section number 1. Section number 2 has to do with maximizing your benefits. A lot of people want to understand how much money they can make and keep their benefits. And there's some complexities to this, but so it requires that we have an introduction and 4 lessons. And it walks you all the way through the basics, like how much money you can make and keep your benefits, which is $770 a month. If you can earn up to that, and that's your net income, and it has absolutely no impact on your benefits, so that's covered in this section. If you have debt strategies, unfortunately those medical bills seem to pile up, and other like college tuition, or if you've got bills like that, there's debt relief strategies that are in Section B. So Section 3, job and income. 4 is housing. 5 is disabled grants. 6 is a lot of medical, health care, treatment option information, how to reduce your prescription costs, how to find low-cost, no-cost treatment. And then one thing you want to make yourself aware of is item 7A is the blog, and that's where you're going to find the replay of this. It should be out by the end of the week. Okay? So that's a real quick overview on the resources that we have. Number 8, actually, I got to point this out. Number 8 is Centers for Independent Living. And this has been a fantastic resource for our members. If you're not aware of the Centers for Independent Living and what they do, come on into Section 8 and check it out. There are organizations that exist in every nook and cranny in the U.S. They're funded by, government funded. And they're run by disabled, and they service the disabled population. You don't have to be on disability to qualify to use their services, but if you're looking for treatment options, like a lot of people are looking, uninsured, going through the disability process is a very common thing, unfortunately, still. So people need like a sliding scale treatment arrangement, so they can help you find those in your area. Financial assistance, legal aid, a lot of them have legal aid. Housing, they don't actually build or provide housing, but they know the housing in your area. Like here in Vermont, there's Catholic Charities is associated with the Center for Independent Living, and so they have fuel assistance programs. And just there's some uniqueness to the centers here in Vermont that is, I expect, that are different from other places in the U.S. So go ahead and have a look at those. I think that should be a stop on everybody's, membership tour here, is to take advantage of that and see what services you can get involved in. And then number 9 is the veterans disability benefits. We have a complete section that teaches the veterans how to get or increase their disabilities. Okay. If you'd like, if you're just joining us, welcome. Again, this is Brian Tarian. And if you have questions, I'm going to go through some of the questions that were asked in the presentation when you registered today. But now is the time for you to type those in the question feature or in the chat box, because once I get done going through the general questions, I got a few other things I wanted to cover with you, then I'll address your individual questions. Okay. Okay. Here we go. So I have concealed the names over here. Actually, I will do even better than that. I will just make sure that the first name is not. Okay. All right. All right. So I'm going to jump around here a little bit. Some of these questions are how to present my case to a judge without a lawyer. So if you are going to do that, you know, I'll show you how to do it. If you go into the Social Security Disability mini course and you go down to section 9 in this course, there's 9A and 9B that are really going to help you with that, show you what goes on in a hearing. I would just be prepared for this, for the person that submitted that question or anybody considering it. And I'm not a lawyer, but I know that other individuals have gone to court and the judges actually said, listen, you know what, it would be best if you came back with representation. Getting through the disability system has just been increasingly difficult in the last, even 18 months. The decisions are low. The approval rates are lower, and there's statistics that are out there that show you that. So I just be aware of that. And sure, if you can get it approved yourself, you can save up to the $6,000. But if you don't get approved, where are you at? Okay. Okay. I'm gonna stay on a few of these disability approval questions and then go on to job and income. Here's an individual that's gone in front of the judge 3 times and been denied. Should I give up? I would ask yourself this question. If you are not able to work and you feel that you qualify for disability, I would not give up. I would not. The odds actually, as long as you stay insured, you know, and you have to look at it, your disability benefits actually expire at some point in time. So if you work 50% or more in the last 10 years, and it's likely you're still insured, and the longer it takes you to get approved, you know, the further away you are from that insured date. So I would definitely keep a case going in the system and not give up. We have advocates here at the Disability Digest that you can talk to. There are members like you that have applied for these advocate positions, and they talk to people and are trained to talk to our members that are going through the disability approval process. It's completely free. And they can share with you their experience, what's worked, what didn't work, show you the resources that we have and give you options. If you haven't spoke to your advocate in the disability mini course that I showed you, there is a request form right here, and you can just complete that, and then we'll either assign an advocate to you, or maybe there's one that's already assigned to you. If you can't find that, just reply to the invite from today's webinar and say, I want to speak to my advocate, and get that taken care of for you. Finding an attorney that will take my case, I'd speak to an advocate. If you're finding that attorneys are not taking your case, that's not necessarily a good sign, because they only get paid if they win them, and they take cases that you know, that they feel are strong. Maybe there is something that is going on with your case. It could be lack of treatment or things that, you know, we could advise you on how to strengthen your case and make it more attractive. How and when to start the filing process? As soon as you know that you cannot work. If you've got your condition that's going to last longer than 12 months, don't mess around, because the approval time is long. I mean, if you do it right and follow our strategy and go through and do everything, then you're going to do the best you can get through. Most people get through 11 months faster than anybody else. But still, it's going to take you, it takes some time to get your benefits approved, so don't wait. There really isn't any value in waiting. Okay. So one more time, I just want to remind you that I want to take individual questions. Right now I'm just addressing a few of the questions that are related to getting approved for Social Security disability. And then I'm going to move on to job and income and housing related questions that we have. So the first thing, the last thing I want to say about getting approved for Social Security disability is that our position here and what's been successful, we've helped over 11,000 people get approved, is we have a mini course that you can go through that I've showed you. It's section 1 of the members area. And we also have advocates that you can speak to. So we encourage you to do both. Take a look at the mini course, speak with your advocate, and understand what your options are for going forward and getting your benefits. You can use the mini course and do it on your own. You can use a Social Security Disability Representative, which is an attorney or non-attorney. So they'll help you understand what your options are, and then you can decide what's best for you to go forward and do that. The key point here is that I just can't emphasize enough. It's the kiss of death for people oftentimes, and it's a terrible word to use, but if you just take a wild-ass guess and put an application in the system, it is the worst thing that you can do, because whatever you put in your application, you can't undo. And if you put information that's well-intended to communicate that you're disabled in your initial application, and you're not able to support that or legitimize that when you unfortunately have to go in front of a judge, it just wrecks your credibility, and credibility is one of the key things to getting your benefits. So consistency, accuracy are the keys to getting these benefits approved. So please don't take that lightly. Very expensive mistake. Okay. Next, job and income opportunities. So I mentioned before that you can earn up to $750 a month to keep your benefits. I'm going to go back over here. I'll show you again where you can find that. And that really gives you a lot of a lot of flexibility, considering the average disability check is around $1,100. And if you go into this item 2 in the introduction, you can scroll down here. I've got it at $780 a month. I think I said $770, but it is $780 a month. And you can actually go into the Social Security Disability Code of Regulations, and it will show you all the legalized breakdown of that. But it is $780 a month. So with that, let's say that you're doing something as an independent contractor or working at home, which seems to be the ideal, most attractive thing for people to do, to find something that's conducive to their disability. The $750 a month is what is after your expenses. So if you've got, your phone and your computer and your internet access, that all becomes business-related expenses now that you can deduct from that. So, maybe you're making $850 a month, but you come in under the $750. If you do exceed that, then there are other courses here that show you what you can do to manage the money. And there are some people that, if you're an independent contractor and you're working, throughout the year, they average your earnings over the course of the year. So you might have a month that's 600, another month that's 800, but it really averages out over the year. And if you have peaks and valleys that are going to put you over annually, you want to understand how to use your trial work periods so that you can actually make more than the $750, then you can go on down to lesson 4. And these are all time-tested techniques. There's nothing illegal about this. Here at the Disability Digest, most of this business is run by our members like you that apply for positions. And so we've had people that have been working here supplementing their disability since 2007. January 2007 is when the first individual started. So we just make sure that everything is documented properly. Nobody's gone to jail. Nobody's lost their benefits. Nobody's had anything reviewed. So it all works just fine. Okay, so job and income opportunities in Section 3. There's reliable work-at-home options, and if the thought of supplementing your income and doing something from home is of interest to you, then I would love to have you come on over to this page and take a look at the opportunities that we have. There's 2 things here at the Disability Digest. The first one is an advocate position. I talked a little bit about that, where you are basically you're a paid tour guide to guide people through the disability approval process. The one that I'm most excited about is our referral partner program. And this is an area of our business that we're excited about, and we want to grow our business. And really what it is an opportunity for our members to join a team and to get paid, earn money, supplement their income by marketing the Disability Digest and the Fibromyalgia Digest, attracting new members. So the concept is this. We have been building this business since 2006. We have 149,000 members right now. We have marketing material that has attracted members like you and others that we know that works. So we take these tools and we provide them to our members that are on this referral partner team, and they can work online and offline to attract members. When a member signs up, that member is associated to the referral partner, and the transactions that they do when we guide them through the maze of disability issues trigger revenue, and we share that revenue. And some of those categories are maybe they get a Medicare Advantage plan through one of our providers, or they change Medicare Advantage plans during open enrollment. Perhaps they use our one of our disability approval strategies and go through our disability approval strategies, and we have sponsors from that, and also Social Security that helps fund that. So, and that would trigger revenue. Also, the ability for referral partners to, once they start to have some success, they could be put into a mentor program where they're assigned other referral partners to teach what they've learned and been successful at, and they get paid an override. It's not a network marketing program. It's just a mentoring program where you're assigned directly individuals that come into the program. So this is a great way to really ease into supplementing your income. You can do this, and really it's a reliable way to earn $3,000, $3,500 a year. The thing that it's been designed to do is once the member is in the system and associated to you as a referral partner, anytime they do something that generates revenue within the membership, we share that with you. And one good example of that is every year 40% of the people that are on a Medicare Advantage program change that plan to go to another plan to commonly reduce costs, to keep the doctors, or plans of change. Anytime that transaction happens through our membership and the provider that we use, then that triggers revenue. So once you have members in the system, we wanted to have an ongoing relationship so that you could benefit from that. So if that's of interest to you, hopefully it is, come on in, just have a look at this web page and go through and submit your application. And again, how to get there is if you're in the members area, which go to the top of any web page, members area, go down to item 3A, these reliable work at home options, and then it's the top option. So that's a couple of work at home options. There's other tools in here that you can help you understand how to build a website and earn money that way. If you're looking for a traditional job, which I don't talk a lot about that because a lot of people want to supplement their income, but they don't really are not interested or looking for a job. They know that they can work when their condition allows them to work, but having a job with set hours traditionally has not been something that really flies very well for our audience. Okay, so we've talked about job and income opportunities, and I wanted to also talk about housing, and because there were some housing questions in here, housing, long-term health care. So housing has been one of the biggest challenges for our members, and it's not, the problem that we've had is there's just not a lot of good options. I mean, people commonly come to us and they have limited resources to work with, and their credit is compromised. But despite all of that, and you're looking for a nice house in an affordable neighborhood. But despite all of that, the keys to success for finding affordable housing and nice neighborhoods are right here in this section 4. And The first one is a bit untraditional and creative, and it would work for people in two ways. It's a home sharing concept. And this whole trend was based off of what's going on here in Vermont, and then I learned about other organizations that are doing it nationally. So there's two sides to this. There's people that live in a great house that want to keep their house, and they want to, supplement their income. So they are putting their home in a home share program so that individuals can come in and live there. And it's a reduced price. Oftentimes you can barter for it, but like I know here in Burlington, some of the homes that I was aware of, they're a nice Victorian home, and in downtown Burlington that somebody was able to live in a home share arrangement, and it worked out great. Some of the bartering is maybe taking out the trash or laying out medicine for somebody, or also it could be keeping somebody that is in the house, laying out their medication for them. I've heard all kinds of different scenarios. So the flip side of that is if you have a home and your home is set up so that you could do something like this or consider doing something like this, also come in here and consider putting your home in the home share program. And you get final say of who would live with you, but a lot of homes are set up so that there's a completely private area, and that could work. Okay, so take a look at that. The more traditional routes are avenues are HUD, and then the other stop even before HUD is, let me see what this is here, is using your local center for independent living, and that is down here in Section 8. They don't provide housing, as I mentioned before, but what they do is they'll show you what's available in your area. Okay, so I've hit on a few areas. We've talked about getting approved for disability, job and income opportunities, how much money you can make, how to keep your benefits, and I want to take a look at the individual questions that that you have. I just have to find on the GoToMeeting software where that, oh, here it is, where that went. Okay. So I've got the questions up. Just give me a moment here. And also, as a reminder, you can type your question in the chat box, which I don't see any, or you can raise your hand, and I will unmute the line and ask you the question. So, okay, I'm going to fire away here. Bear with me. So I'll read the question. I'll keep the individual's name confidential. Okay. Here's one from Linda. Is using ALSA better than a local company? I have been denied twice now, waiting for a hearing, which said it could take 18 months. Your advice. Okay, it's a fair question. So here's my response to that, and based on what I've learned from members. I'll address it this way. One of the biggest mistakes that people make is the presumption that by choosing somebody that's local, they're choosing somebody that's better. That's not always the case. In order to be good at this, which is I would prefer you to find somebody that's good rather than somebody that it just fits your geographical preference. You can go down to their office and have a cup of coffee and a donut. To be good at this, you really need to do, ideally, just do this, do Social Security disability. Just let's take one isolated area of it to address on this question. If you're doing Social Security disability hearings, doing 30 a month would keep somebody really sharp at this so that you understand, what evidence you're going to need, how you need to present the case, what the judge might say, what, the voc rehab counselor might come back to you. So if you go into a local office and somebody's doing, some auto, some personal injury, they're doing some Social Security, they're doing some bankruptcy, I'd be very concerned about that, unless they've got some ringer in there that this is all they do and they're over that amount. So back to your question with also, they're a national firm. If you've got a good person in there that is competent, then you're likely going to be okay. I would encourage you to attempt to keep that relationship. There is a lesson in the mini course that gives you the exact questions to ask if you are concerned about your Social Security disability representative. I'm just going to find it here. So again, Linda, I would just find out who's going to be on the case, who's going to do the hearing. It's 7C, 8 questions you must ask but don't know to ask about a disability representative. That was a good question. Thank you. Okay, here's another one. Okay, I hear that there's loopholes in the Ticket to Work program that can ultimately lead to getting kicked out of SSDI. Can you address? Well, I don't know a lot of people that have taken advantage of the Ticket to Work program because there's not a lot of people that offer the Ticket to Work program. It wasn't properly designed. It wasn't designed and engineered with disability recipients in mind. It was concocted by government officials that thought it might work, and it hasn't. So the long story short, as far as the loopholes, is let's paint the worst case scenario. Let's say that you do your job, you follow all the rules and the guidelines, which are not that difficult to do. Report your income, make sure it's within certain guidelines. You've got, let's see, for trial work, let me just get over here and I'll tell you exactly what it is. Keep getting the numbers mixed up, how many months you have to. Okay, bear with me. Okay, you have 60 months with your trial work period, and in those 60 months, you can have 5 months where you can basically earn a pile of money. So if you come in and read this lesson and go outside of those guidelines, then you're likely going to be you're going to be a possible candidate to be flagged for a continuing disability review. All right, and if that happens, we've got a course that can help you out. Just contact our support desk. So the thing is just to stay within the guidelines of what it is. So, and then when you turn 65, if you're working up until then, I mean, you're basically off Social Security disability, and you know, that income criteria doesn't impact you anymore. Yep. Good question. Thank you. Waiting for a hearing now for over a year and a half. I don't understand why it's taking so long. Understaffed and a huge backlog. I don't know what state you're in, William, but a year and a half is a long time. Like Georgia, I know is over 2 years. Here's a tip for you, though. I'll go through this as best I can in a few moments. When you get your hearing notice, if you're using a Social Security disability representative, ask them to file a pre-hearing brief to get an on-the-record decision. So 2 things you want to jot down, William. Pre-hearing brief to get an on-the-record decision. So the short story is what a representative would do is they would create a 2 or 3 page brief that would summarize your case theory, why you're disabled. They would present it to the judge, doing him a favor, making a job easier so he can read this in advance of your hearing and be prepared. Oftentimes when they read that, then they say, oh, well, geez, I don't need to see William in court. I'm going to just, right now I'm going to approve him, and that'll free up the schedule in the backlog. So you've got one more shot to shorten that time frame, but you have to wait until you get your letter with the hearing date to do it, and on that letter you're saying you want to submit any evidence in advance of the hearing. I feel there are rules that are discriminating my former employee. Okay, Laura. Workplace discrimination, unfortunate, but common. Not real common, but common enough for us to have a course on workplace discrimination. Okay, so there's some steps that you need to take. This is an interview with a prominent workplace discrimination attorney, and I'm going to put this link in the chat feature so that you can copy and paste it. Please listen to the interview. It tells you what to document, who to contact, what to do, so that you can make sure that this is taken care of. Okay, here's one. My private disability insurance rescinded my policy when I became disabled. The lawyers I saw quoted prices to litigate that I cannot afford. Any recommendations? Yeah, actually I do. So it sounds to me like they'll litigate it, but they're asking for some cash in advance. We have a couple different options for long-term disability, they call them EJ attorneys, that would take a look at your case, and the common relationship is if they take it and they recover benefits, then they get a percentage just like with Social Security. So Laura, to do that, it's really best that you speak to one of our advocates so that they can formulate all the information for you. So to do that, go into the Social Security Disability mini course. I know it's a long-term disability issue, but this is the quickest way. Well, actually, no, just go to this item 1B in the members area right here and complete that, and then we'll learn more about your situation. I put that link in the chat as well. Okay. You know, there's a lot of rubber stamping with long-term disability policies, so it may be annoying, but it's unfortunately becoming more and more common. All right. So Laura asked me, am I disabled? No, I'm not. Is it possible to find a job, $770 a month, that provides benefits? I don't want to say it's not possible. It's not common here with the positions that we have because those that work here are on Medicare because they're, especially advocates, are all approved for disability. So I can't speak to that. I know that there's other home-based organizations out there. They usually pay you as an independent contractor, and having benefits is not common. I'm with the advocate group. Okay, so here's one from Melissa. Have an attorney. First hearing's April 1st. Hopefully it'll be your last. When I did the original application on my own, I did not have any diagnosis at that point. Now I have all of my diagnosis in the original application. Without diagnosis going to get me denied. Well, when you go to court, you're going to argue what you have in there. If you've got a diagnosis that you're being treated for, this is what they're going to look at. I'm just going to back up a little bit. They're going to look at, do you have a condition that you're being treated for that is not getting any better, and that condition or conditions has limitations that will not allow you to do any job 5 days a week, 40 hours a week. That's the general rule. If you're over 50, it's a little bit more liberal. But if you have your diagnosis now and you're being treated, and that information and the medical records are in the file, you're on target, Melissa. I'm not a tax guy. Here's a question from Fran. How much can I earn when I'm 65? But my understanding when you're 65 is that the earning limitations for Social Security disability are all rules are off. So there's two ways you can get the answer to that. I don't remember exactly what it is, but I would contact our support desk, support at the Disability Digest, reply to the invite that's here, and we will get some verification on that. I always like to have one of these little ruling things like we have up on the screen, and I just don't have that at my fingertips for this. Oh, here's a good question. Can somebody work while applying for their disability benefits, and will it risk hurting their case? Well, my experience is yes, it will hurt your case. And the reason is there's two ways you can look at this. The most common one is it will hurt your case. Matter of fact, a lot of disability representatives won't represent somebody if they're working. And the reason for that is if you are working at some job, it opens up the conversation for Social Security to say, well, okay, if that job had more reasonable accommodations, you could work 40 hours a week, 5 days a week. Or if you did another job, then you could work 40 hours a week, 5 days a week. So it's really best to just concentrate on getting your benefits approved fast, using that time to set up and understand what you may do to supplement your income. So that is the ideal strategy. The other side of that is if you try to work and you're showing good faith and attempt to work and you can't work and you have failed work attempts, that could actually work in your cases in your favor. So if you go back to work and it's less than 3 months, that type of thing, that could. So I'm kind of giving you a little bit of double talk. If you can't work and that's what you're arguing for Social Security disability, then it's best not to do. Some of these questions I don't understand, Laura. 9 months, what kind of attorneys? I mean 401k, etc. It's not clear to me. If you'd rephrase those, that would be great. Okay, do I use the same start date? This is from Tamara. Do I use the same start date for SSI and SSDI? So if you're arguing that your argument is, Tamara, that you're disabled and you think you qualify for SSI in addition to SSDI, yes, it's the same application process. There's just another box that needs to be checked for SSI. And if you get approved, some of the advantages of that is you could get approved for your SSI a lot quicker, using the decision process much quicker for that, for your Social Security disability. You guys have some good questions. I see there's a few more left here. I'm on long-term disability from my employer and have been required to file for SSDI, which I have done. I'm also a health and life coach, and I see clients inside business. Not sure what your question is, but if you have a question associated with that, and I see life on the side, okay. So I don't know, Nisi, if your question is how much money I can make and keep my benefits, or if you could rephrase your question, that would be great. Oh, this is a good question from Linda. Why do you get denied with the diagnosis and information to state your disability, but then get a hearing and get approved? So this is a good point. So there's when you originally submit your application, it goes into a local state agency, and they look at your medical records, and they look at the statement that you have that you put in your original application, and they match those up. They don't hear the full argument of the case. They don't, there isn't the dialogue between the judge and a Social Security disability representative and or you. So it is more challenging to present a case that's going to get approved at the initial level. And that's, that's a great question, and that's it. So Disability approval at the initial application stage is 40, low 40%. If you go to a hearing, it's 62%. If you have a reconsideration, it's maybe 8 or 9%. And that's national average. Okay, I've been approved for disability. What comes next? Well, congratulations on getting approved, Andrea. That's great. The next thing is Medicare. Well, I see your note here. I'm going to come back to the second part of your question, but you're Medicare eligible 24 months from the date that you prove that you're disabled, not from when you get your approval letter. There's a big misunderstanding with this. So if you've been, say that your date of disability is, it's this 15, so March 26 of 2013 was your date of disability, then you would be Medicare eligible today. So one of the first things you should do is find out your Medicare eligibility date. And then if you are Medicare eligible or getting close to it, I would go into Section 7 and go through the Medicare educational options that are there. You can have it done for you, or you can do it yourself. It costs the same either way. It doesn't matter. So as far as your review is concerned, for those of you that have been approved or are getting approved, here's my message. The number of disability reviews has gone up through the Obama administration because they started digging into this whole Medicare fraud, and then they also found out that there's a lot of people on benefits that shouldn't be on benefits. So what do you do? There's a whole course on this called CDR, Continuing Disability Review. I'll pull it up and put the link in while we're speaking. But the keys that you should do is pull out your letter and see when you are eligible for a review. And by the way, I just forgot to show you something. If you're looking for something, there's a custom search bar at the top of this page right here. It says search the site. I just put in CDR, which is a Continuing Disability Review. And I'm going to put that link in the chat right now. So my take is anybody that's on benefits or going to be on benefits, you should really pay attention to two things. One, you should review your award letter and follow it. Two is listen to this interview, go through the details, and make sure that you're aware of what you need to do to, cover your ass, if you will. And then, unfortunately, if you do get pulled for a review, there's steps here that show you, teach you, for example, how to keep your benefits in place while it's being reviewed, where to go for help, all that stuff. Okay, going back to is it possible to find a job paying only $770 a month and providing benefits, not medical? I'm going to say it's possible. I don't know of, I couldn't say to you right now, Linda, go here, here, and here. Finding something to do on a limited basis with a flexible schedule is really, it's been a challenge. That's in large part why we built these positions that we have, so that we can work with our members. So I don't feel I'm fully answering your question. I'm going to say yes, again, it's possible. I just don't know where you could go to get that. Okay, questions keep piling in, so hang on. Okay, question from David. How can I make sure that my benefits are maxed? You're a veteran. Well, thanks for serving our country. First thing is, likely if you're a veteran, I don't know if you're on VA benefits, but if you are, make sure that your VA rating is in line with what you should be receiving for compensation, 10% up to 100. If it's not in line, then file for an increase. And you can file for an increase with the service officer. You can do it on your own. And in the members area, just go to the very bottom. It's lesson 9. There's a course that teaches you how to do that. So first of all, I'd make sure that everything on your VA benefits is taken care of, and you're squeaking every nickel out of it you can. On the Social Security disability side, your check that you receive is based on your work history. There isn't any opportunity really for that to go up or down. So if your disability check is $1,100 a month, which is the average, then that's what it's going to be. If you're on SSI, which very few people are that are in this audience, most people are on Social Security disability. SSI is a need-based program, welfare, then that income can fluctuate based on different resources and assets that come into your house. So I could talk here for an hour about that, but I'm just going to leave that as a topic to let you know that yes, it can fluctuate. You can get a benefits counselor that can help you understand how that works at a Center for Independent Living or even Social Security. But the biggest thing that people can do to maximize the benefits is, one, stay tuned into your membership here. And I am a big proponent of people finding something to do that's conducive to their disability to supplement their income. Even if you run it at a nominal profit, then because you're writing off some of the expenses that you have, and you're earning a little bit of extra money to leverage things, and it's good for the soul. So those are my short tips in helping people understand what they can do. I mean, there's a lot of tips that we come out that get published here that can help you. One other key thing is make sure that you review your Medicare every year. Now, I know, David, you probably are not on Medicare because you get treated through the VA, but for those of you that are on Medicare, those plans change every year. And I know for a fact that people that don't review their plans, the odds are they're losing money because your health changes. It could get worse. It could get better. Prescription drugs changes. Some become generic. Some become less expensive. Some are covered. Some are not on the plans. And the plans change in each state. So there's 16 plans plus all the variables in your own personal condition. And to think that the plan that you chose a year ago is the one that's going to be ideal for you now is just not accurate. So the opportunity to change starts in October, like 6th, and goes to like the middle of December. It's called open enrollment. Make sure you stay tuned to your membership and get in touch with somebody like that you can talk to about your options. So that's another key. Okay. Melissa asks, I heard that you can be awarded both SSI and SSDI. Yes, you can. And what's that called? That's called SSI and SSDI. It's not common, but it typically happens when somebody has got very, very low resources and they've had a solid work history. So it's a question, are you not considered disabled when you're 65? Yes, you are. It's just that, again, I need to get some clarity on the regulations on that. There is something that changes. I believe your benefit amount stays the same, but there is something else that changes there. I don't know the answer to that. That's the one that you guys have stumped me on today. Okay, got a couple more questions, and then we're going to wrap up for the day. Okay, here's the last one. Name is Kevin, live in Florida, 38, had a heart failure. Doctor doesn't want me to do any labor, getting tired, stress levels, advice, need to work only 20 hours a week, 508 a month. Okay, all right. Okay, so Kevin's situation is he's got some extreme health issues, can't work, he's not able to do any labor, has financial responsibilities, needs to provide for his family. Okay. All right. Solid question. I think the key is, Kevin, is you need to find something that you can get involved in that is going to be conducive to your disability. There's a beautiful story of one of our members that has shared with us, and I would encourage you to start and listen to her story. You're probably thinking he's not giving me the direct answer, but I want to give you something that will make you think and help you find what it is that's going to work for you. So in section 3, 3E, this is Michelle Toole's story. She had, she was young too. I actually think she was younger than you. I'm putting the link in the chat feature there. And she was a marathon runner, and she was very healthy, and she had a condition that just totally wiped her out. It basically took her off the map, in bed for days. So she leveraged 3 hours a week to fight and work her way back. And she talks about in this course and the interviews about how she looked at what she had and what she could work with versus what she didn't have and what she could not work with. And that's the same with all of us. I mean, frankly, we all have limitations on our time. There's only 24 hours in a day. That's the maximum amount of time, right? If you have a condition or a disability, then it could reduce that down to maybe it's only 1 or 2 hours a day. So then you need to take a look at what it is that I can do and leverage realistically in that time, set a plan, and go out and do that. In addition to that general strategy in that interview, I would encourage you to get together with somebody at your local Center for Independent Living, or at least explore what they have for counselors there, you know, as a think tank in that. So that would be it. And maybe something, maybe the referral partner position that we have here is something that you could do in conjunction to that, start building up some income. So those are my steps of advice. So listen to the interview, understand Michelle's story, how she kind of engineered and created her destiny. Now she's off of benefits, totally off of benefits. She built a business called Healthy Holistic Living. So that's how you do it. Okay, I know I said we're going to close up. There's a few more here I just want to take. You guys have been great today. My claim was filed March 3rd. I actually have disability for several years. What is the date of my disability? Well, if you filed it on May 3rd, it should be the, you should have put in your application the date that you stopped working because of your disability, Tamara. Yeah. So it's not when you filed it. So you may have stopped working 8 or 10 months ago. Okay. All right. So if after the, here's the question, if after the 4 to 6 months you're denied, do you resubmit? Well, it depends on your state. Some states have, the answer is yes, you want to certainly keep fighting. I think that's what you're looking for. And again, realize that 43% of initial applications get approved. You could have a very legitimate case, it just didn't get approved. Doesn't mean you're not disabled. So the next step is you have a reconsideration phase. You'll have 60 days to file that. There's like 5 or 6 states that don't have that. And if that's the case, then you're just going to file for a hearing. And I'd certainly pursue that. You know, the overall percentage of applications that get approved is lower than the initial application rate. A lot of people just give up. They get annoyed. They're like, you got to be kidding me. I can't work, and I filed, and I don't qualify for disability, and they stop. Please don't do that. Okay. All right. Good. I answered most of the questions as best I could. That's my disclaimer. I see David has his hand raised here. I'm going to unmute you, David. And if you'd like to ask me your question, you can. I think you also muted your line. Or can you hear me, David? All right.
I can hear you.
Oh, fantastic. Thanks for joining. How can I help you?
I had the question, and I was the vet. I guess just follow up on that. I had seen some advertisement on TVs that they were saying if you were a veteran, that you could be earning another, say, I think it was $1,100 more or something, and I didn't know what that was about.
Well, what's your rating now?
I'm not disabled through the VA, but I've got Social Security disability.
Okay, so then you don't have a VA rating. Well, I think 2,600 is a pretty common amount for veterans. So, and how it works on a sliding scale, if you're 10% disabled, you get 10% of that, $260 a month, 20%. What's that? 620. So, but if you're not disabled or don't have a disability that is, combat related or during service time, then that's likely not an option. But if you think you do, then you go in and check out the course that I mentioned and have a listen.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you very
much.
You're
welcome. You're welcome. Okay. Great. Well, listen, we're going to wrap up for today. You guys have been fantastic. I appreciate all the questions. It was a great challenge for me, and good to have you out here. Just stay tuned to your inbox for updates, etc. If you joined us late or if you missed something, just to remind you, you can make a mental note that go into the members area, which is the top of any of our websites, thedisabilitydigest.com, and then go down to item 7A, and the replay of this should be out, what's today? Probably by Monday, okay? Thank you. Appreciate you being a member. If you like the work that we do, we would really appreciate it if you would tell some other folks. There's a tell a friend feature up here at the top of the page. Sometimes we give out gifts, prizes for referring new members here. And it really makes the world go around here. The more members we have, the more sponsors we have, the more money we have, the more jobs we can provide to members like you, the better resources we can provide. So it makes the world go around. Now, if you are here today and we totally stunk it up and you don't like what we do, I definitely want to hear from you. Just reply to the invite and let us know how we missed the mark or what we could do better to, to improve the value of the membership that we're providing. So this has been Brian Terry, and make it a great day, everybody. Thanks again for attending.